Hello everyone, David Klecker here, creator of AutoHARP3. Subterfuge is another new database expansion pack that I'm introducing. To install it, just go ahead and double click on the application and install it just like we did the other expansion packs. Install it in the same folder. It shouldn't take long at all. Let's go ahead and run it. A lot of Subterfuge is going to show up inside of creating a new character sheet. In fact, basically Subterfuge is a step-by-step guide to creating thieves and rogues. Just like Beyond the Veil was a step-by-step guide to creating a cleric. So we now have information about creating thieves and rogues. The one big change that you are going to notice immediately when you create a new character sheet is this button right here. There's this new button that shows up. And the reason this shows up is because Subterfuge needs you to understand how to create the proper thief and the proper rogue. So it gives you a bunch of information about how this works. So this is going to show you how you select the proper social class. So select destitute gives you all of the description, what their tendencies, targets, means, and methods are. So each one of these is going to give you that information. Comes straight from the book for Subterfuge, and this allows you to select the appropriate social class that you're going to use for this particular thief or rogue. The same thing is going to show up here for races. You can go ahead and click on this, and it's going to give you a step-by-step guide to the description of the race, what the preferred skills are going to be for that particular race. And this will show up again when we start ranking things in profession, and will show up again when we start ranking things in adolescence. What's going to happen is that it's going to be selected so specifically for the race that you selected. So this gives you a basic idea of, what race do I want to choose that might give me the preferred skills that I want. So I'm going to choose a dwarf for my thief and select next screen. It's going to work the same as it always has before. It's just that what's new now is information, that allows you to pick the right race for your thieving or roguish adventures. Again, there's going to be new professions. There's a couple of new professions that are listed in here that we'll see. There's always some new talents. There's going to be some skills, some new spells. But there are a couple of new professions listed in here. One of them is going to be, let's see, it's in here somewhere, ninja. And there's also Nightblade. And if I'm not mistaken, there might be another one in here. Scoundrel might be a new one if I'm not mistaken as well. So let's go ahead and select ninja. And I'm going to select that as my profession. There's nothing else that needs to be added in here, so I'm just going to say select profession. But again, we have this button here that says, hey, if you want to have a certain vocation as being an assassin, maybe you want to make sure you build in this fashion as well. Here's your priority skills. Here's some useful talents. If you want to be an assassin, this is what you need to do. If you want to be a con artist or a pickpocket or a plunderer or a spy, whatever. All of these are vocations. These tell you exactly which talents to prioritize, which skills to rank, and so on. Beyond the Veil is loaded in here, so we can always do some cleric stuff if we want to as well. So I'm going to go ahead and go on the next screen. Nothing's really necessary for statistics. Statistics is basically the same as it always has been. Cultures, there's a new one called Dark Warrens. If we can go ahead and select that one. It's going to give me all of the adolescent ranks for that. I'm going to select that as primary. If you want to read up on your culture, you can always go ahead and read it here. Dark Warrens doesn't show up, but that's only because there was no information in the book, which was interesting to me, that described what Dark Warrens was about. It had for everything else, it just didn't have it for Dark Warrens. I thought that was kind of interesting. So let's go ahead and we'll close this, and then I'll go to next screen. And then now you will see that I have my ranking that I have to do. And you're thinking, well, I don't remember the skill ranks that I'm supposed to add. Well, if I click on the help button here, I've already picked, this is for professions. It tells me the race that I have picked, and it also tells me, vocations wise. Again, the profession that I picked was a ninja, but what am I trying to do with that profession? Am I trying to make him like a ruffian, a bounty hunter, an assassin? If it's a ninja, maybe he wants to be an assassin. So maybe I want to, prefer these skills for priority skills. So stalking and hiding, ambush, any combat weapons, poisoning, any of these things, maybe these should be in my priority. So subterfuge, well then if I'm going to follow this, maybe I should put a few in stalking and hiding. Maybe we'll put a few in ambush so that I have those two ranked. Physical, don't see anything listed here, but I'm pretty sure maybe I should put in some for endurance, jumping, maybe even swimming. For general, I don't think I have anything listed here again for general, but I think I can go ahead and maybe put something in for healing, maybe something, a couple in for perception. Concentration, I might want to add in a bunch for chi defense and maybe even chi speed. Combat, it tells me that I should definitely put in for some combat weapon skills. So maybe what I'll do is I'll put in one rank for martial arts strikes, but for a melee weapon, I might want to pick some like thrusting blades, something, or maybe even a long blade like a katana or something like that. So maybe let me go ahead and click on that. And maybe what I'll do is I'll put in one rank for sweeps, and then athletic, I'll put in some ranks for acrobatics and climbing. So notice that this stays up as I'm able to rank. So this gives you all the information that you need, and this stays up so that you can rank at the same time. Click on that X to close, go to next screen. Again, we can go ahead and bring this up. This gives me the race perspective. This gives me the culture perspective, vocations, and social class. So if I need more information about what ranks to put in for my adolescents, I can go ahead and use that. But I think I'm just going to go ahead and add in these 3 ranks for long blades, and then add in, let's say, 2 ranks for crossbows. Go ahead and click on next screen, and it's going to finish up my character. And now I have used the subterfuge tips to create what I hope is going to be a pretty powerful and very well balanced and created ninja type profession. If I were to go into add level, I have the same things. Now statistics, same as always, so I'm just going to click on next screen. But when it comes to talents, and the biggest problem as this program just gets bigger and bigger is that we just get more and more talents, so it does become a little bit daunting to have to go through all of these talents, but it is what it is. But we do have this button here to press, and it tells me, hey, what do you want this guy to do? And these are the talents that help with subterfuge. If you picked assassin, maybe you want to, pick something in here that might help with that. Maybe night vision, maybe a master tracker, or maybe even assassin training. So there's 1 + 15. So maybe I'll look for that, and that's going to be right here. So maybe I will pick on that one. Maybe lightning reflexes, so that's going to be down in the L section. So just let me scroll down to L, lightning reflexes. And maybe that's it. Maybe that's all I'm going to put in there. And I will just stop right there. So go to next screen. Same thing here. What kind of training packages should I be adding into my character sheet? Well, here we go. And I said that I wanted to be an assassin, right? That was my vocation. Well, I have an assassin training package right here. So let's just go ahead and select that. It's going to give me subterfuge ranks that I can put in here. I have already a few. I can only put it into ambush and sniping. So let's go ahead and add in 2 for ambush. Let's add in 2 for sniping. And I have now added in the training package to increase and to enhance my ninja profession character. We can go to next screen, and it's going to be the same idea. I'm going to have another one of these help buttons that's going to help me understand, what kind of skills do I want? Well, ambush, camouflage, dirty fighting, disguise, any of these skills, and I can even just click on this and it'll give me a description of what they are. Any of these skills will certainly help me when it comes to the creation of my character sheet. I'm just going to go ahead and select next screen. I'm just going to skip this so that I can get back to the main page. I do believe that that is all when it comes to this, except for the big thing here. This is the random herb generator. So this, again, like all of the expansion packs, the Beyond the Veil had the Edit Religion, Martial Law had the Battle Ruins, and also had the NPC generator. This subterfuge has a random herb generator, and how this works is we get to the random herb poison page, generating page. If you need more information about how this runs beyond this tutorial, this will give you some information on how to find herbs, select climate, select source, all of that. How this works is you can go ahead and enter in all of this information yourself if you want, or you can just do a randomly generate herb, and this will just randomly generate it. and you can go ahead and make any changes that you want to make here, especially when it comes to the toxicity categories, and especially when it comes to the information that comes from this toxicity categories. But for the most part, you're probably not going to make too much in the way of changes, because this does in fact do a pretty good job of randomly generating the herb. It comes from the rules that are used in Subterfuge. If you like what you see and you're good with this, you can always go ahead and click save. And what that's going to do is it's going to take this name and it's going to save it to this particular herb that I can go ahead and access by opening. I'm going to create a couple more of these, so I'm going to clear. So I'm going to hit this clear button, randomly generate a new herb. I'm going to save that, clear again, randomly generate a new herb, and save that. And now I'm going to open up my sidebar here, and I have all of these herbs that I have created. If I click on the burdock root, it's going to open that up here. If I click on any of these, they will be opened up. And if I click on the delete button, they will be deleted. I can save these to file. So if I go ahead and just save this to saved herbs, and I save this as an XML, I can go ahead and make that change and close on that. And here's how that works. So if I'm going to go ahead and let's say I close, and let's say I go back to creating my herbs, you'll notice that nothing's open. But if I go to open herbs file, and I select on that file that I just saved, saved herbs, they will open up here, and I can go ahead and make changes and save those changes back to file. Now, how do you use this? You can always go ahead and use this in a way so that you can create that new herb inside of Architect to put that herb in the database. That's a possibility as well. But this allows you to just create any sort of random herb. You can just go ahead and write this down. I don't really have any way of printing this just yet. That is a possibility that I could do. I could write out a printing algorithm for this, so print it to a PDF. But either way, if there's anything else about HARP Subterfuge that you would like me to answer, anything that was not part of this tutorial, please let me know. Anything else that you would like me to add when it comes to random herb and poison generator, please go ahead and let me know. Put those in the comments below. The other things that happen with Subterfuge are going to be some new fumble tables that can show up. You can use those when you roll for your character sheets, and you'll see them here when you open up fumble table. They show up here. A lot of them are related to herb creation. Again, as I said, we got some new skills, new spells, new professions, that new culture, Dark Warrens, and that is it. Just all that new information about how to create some Subterfuge characters. So hopefully that'll work for you. Hopefully you can create some great Subterfuge characters with this application. Again, thank you so much for purchasing AutoHARP 3, and happy gaming.